mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Don't be afraid. It's just an asshole.
What are you going to do about it, asshole? What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Probability, we dream about things that could happen, things that have happened.
Well, indeed. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast. I'm still in second Renaissance mode here. BDA Boxing Podcast, of course, the one and only. Fellas, thank you for joining us. We're broadcasting to you live here from the True North. A little bit earlier than expected, but because we wanted to go live as soon as possible after the press conference, scintillating press conference.
When you suggest
we're
like a comet. In other words, we're going forward.
Scintillating press conference we just had.
And then there is a past that is
all right,
behind
hold on a
us.
second. Bucci says, yeah, I see it, Bucci. He says background noise. I don't see any. Oh, okay, no, excuse me. I see what's going on.
Battery or consciousness of energy there occupying a distance.
All right, sorry about that. I had something on that I was not expecting. In any event, shout out to everybody for joining us. We just had the Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis press conference, scintillating press conference. Scintillating, I gotta tell you. Hold on a second. Is the sound still on? No, it's off. I think it's off. Yes, indeed. Scintillating press conference. We're gonna talk about it. Hey, listen, is the fucking title a little bit clickbaitish? Absolutely. But look, we do what we do. That's what we do around here. We do what we do. That fucking Baltimore accent, man. That is a thick Baltimore accent. I mean, if it wasn't for having seen all seasons of The Wire so long ago, I would have been shocked by that accent. Be that as it may, we are going to talk about the press conference. We're going to talk about some revelations that Ryan Garcia made in this press conference. Is Ryan Garcia being weight trained? Is he correct in complaining about it even though he accepted the terms? Was Tank Davis high? Did he fall through a wall? Hence why he was wearing some fiberglass insulation as a coat. We will go into depth to all those questions, try to get to the bottom of things. We're also going to be opening up the phone lines in case anybody wants to call in, give us their thoughts about the press conference and about the fight, of course. We also have to get down to some business for the weekend. We've got Tim Tszyu taking on Tony Harrison. Looking forward to that fight. Let me tell you, looking forward to that fight, absolutely. So, let me call a couple of people here, start cooking, and then we'll, like I said, within an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, we'll get to the phone calls, because I think we're going to get to the Tim Tszyu thing after the phone calls. Depends on how we proceed with all of this. Unless, of course, nobody jumps on the panel, because again, I didn't warn anybody that we're going to do it earlier than expected. Let me call King Bucho, see if he wants to jump on. But I can do this solo, fellas. Don't worry about it. We've got plenty of phone calls, probably, and a lot to get to. So, shout out to everybody in the chat. I forgot, excuse me, with all the hoopla about the music in the background. We got Vince Vegas. Shout out to Vince Vegas. One Foot Out the Door. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door. Captain Ivan Drago. Adam. Knockout Ned. SSC in the house as well. Shout out to SSC. Eparokua. Let Me Ace. Sergeant Z. USMC. Who else we've got here? Skull Kid 25. Bray. Jesus M. Adam. The Cash Cow Piñata. Eparokua. Superstar Donning, Vince Vegas, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right. One Foot Out the Door says, got drunk waiting for the press conference to happen. Yeah, what was that about? Half an hour late. Actually, you know what? They're still talking to Gervonta Davis wearing his fiberglass insulation. Let's see what he's got to say.
What does it add to what you've already gotten?
It get me over that hump.
It get me over that hump. It's mainly so trying to break.
All right, this is painful to listen to. Tank Davis is clearly high. I mean, I know he's not the most articulate fella out there, but my goodness gracious. Tank, what can we expect on April the 22nd? You know, I think, you know what I'm saying, I'm from Baltimore, you know what I'm saying, we can all expect things when you're in Baltimore. It's like, oh my goodness gracious, just say the standard, you know, cliche, we're gonna knock his ass out, that's it. He's licking his lips too every time. I mean, get him some chapstick or something, please. All right, I'm gonna open up the phone lines right off the bat. But in the meantime, let's go back to see what Gervonta Davis has to say, or not say. We will see.
I can't say that yet, but on paper, I feel as though, yes. When I'm preparing for a fight, I say yes. Okay. You know what I mean? I can't really say just yet because I didn't share the ring with him. I'm for sure. I watch his fight. I know that he's a sound fighter.
All right, I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. By the way, that's the thing, though. Everyone was throwing around that qualifier. Great fighter. Joe Goosen goes on stage. I mean, Tank Davis is a great fighter. Fucking Calvin Ford with his swimming cap on goes in there. He's a great fighter too. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's a great fighter. Hey, listen, if these guys are great fighters, I'm a great fighter too. I said we got Jimmy here, the Jimmy Arena. Jimmy, you're a great fighter too. We're all great fighters. Let's just throw that around.
Yeah, you know, I guess, you know, yeah.
Come on, you're making fun of Tank Davis. Now listen, I'm not gonna make. I usually don't make fun of the way he talks because I mean it is what it is. But he was late. He was high. He fell through a wall. That's why he was wearing fiberglass insulation as a coat. Jimmy, what's going on here?
Well, honestly, what it is, he talks a certain way, right? And he doesn't. So he has to couch his speech. You know, when he's with his friends, you know, he's dropping F-bombs and he talks a certain way. And he doesn't want to sound that way in the press conference. But because he doesn't speak any other way, he doesn't really know how to. And it is what it is. I mean, let's think, you know, he's just not an educated kid. I mean, he was thrown around, and I'm making excuses, but it was, like I said, I've read about his past, terrible past. He was thrown from foster home to foster home in an already historically horrible school system that's failing the kids in Baltimore like something awful. So, I mean, literally, I mean, you put him down, give him a book to read. He'd be in sounded out land for like 5 minutes to get to a paragraph.
I didn't want to get too much into the whole thing. I was more interested in why he might have been late. 2 hours late almost.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, he was just fucking probably doing his thing. But yeah, no. So I've grown. That's why I can't watch these. I don't like watching him talk because he does the same thing when they ask him about Lomachenko. He looks at the tops of his feet. Well, maybe, and it's because he can't come out and say, well, yeah, no, we've avoided him like the fucking plague for the last 5 years. But he doesn't even know how to lie about it, so he just mumbles his way through it. This is the way they're trying to play this fight off like it's something. No, what it is a guy who hasn't fought a legitimate opponent in 6 years against another dude who's 2 fights away from prospect status, out of prospect status. That, no belts are on the line, no real belts are on the line. It's just... And they're trying to sell it, and then you got media like Dan Cabano, whatever you spell his name, the nepotism son, fucking on Twitter saying it should easily do over 1 million buys. It's like, go get your fucking medication adjusted, dude.
Hey, by the way, what was Leonard Ellerby doing there? How did he sneak in there?
Just a representative of the PBC, yeah, but, who knows? You could probably still maybe be with them. I mean, that's all that, I mean, you can't really differentiate the snakes when they're all in the same garden.
Yeah, people didn't see it. I have somebody on the inside filming from a different angle. They actually escorted Ellerby out of the press conference. They didn't want to make a scene of it because they got respect for the guy for everything he's done for them, for Mayweather. But yeah, he wasn't supposed to be there, and they escorted him off the premise.
Are you serious?
According to my Jimmy, don't call me out on it because then you ruined the joke. Right?
Oh shit! I thought that was awesome. Like really?
But you see,
that would have been great.
The fact that it was, but it's believable, right? That's what makes it so fun.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, everyone was saying he looked like Dr. Phil from. Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But listen, I've opened up the phone lines in case anybody wants to call in. It is a different time that we're starting this show, so maybe it's going to get a little while to get started. But in the meantime, let's talk about it. Yeah, right. Tank Davis late. Was that?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I'm surprised he found time being there out doing these big things. Like, he's busy doing historic big things. Remember, that's when he was having his go back and forth with Eddie Hearn. I mean, his Eddie Hearn involved in DAZN, which, again, my position on them, we're not too happy with. But at least Eddie Hearn is involved in, promotions all over the world. And they had Giovanni Davis, who was, fighting handpicked dudes. It was just laughable.
Mm-hmm. Hey, by the way, we've got shout out to Looking for LDBC members, an OG in the house, and he says the rehydration clause is a joke. I want to talk about that. Looking for LDBC members, I want to talk about that. Also, shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. Shout out to him for his contribution. He says, boxing pickup lines. Tell her your dad must be a boxer because you're one hell of a knockout. Rapax, I'm gonna ban you from the fucking channel if you keep if you keep bringing up this cliched punch. What do they call it? Pickup lines with a boxing tinge to them. Stop it right now. I'm telling you, you are warned. But hey, listen. In all seriousness, shout out to you guys for your contribution to the super chat. And look, Looking for LDBC members brings up the good point. The rehydration clause is a joke. They're making this fight at a catch weight of 136. Aldo was saying that in the chat and in the Discord. Why not just make it 135? 136. And then there's a rehydration clause. Now, Jimmy, there's people out there saying, well, they're blaming Ryan Garcia for accepting the terms. And I can agree with that. I'll blame him somewhat for accepting the rehydration clause. But why is there a rehydration clause in the first place? Like, why do Tank Davis' side feel like they need to put that on there? Do they feel like they can't beat him if he does hydrate to whichever weight he wants to?
Of course. Well, it's just more to their advantage. If there's no rehydration clause and say Garcia can blow up to a welterweight or maybe bigger, who knows the weight he comes in of the night of the fight. But yeah, and looking for and they said, my thing is this: if Garcia didn't accept the clauses or accept those things, then the fight wouldn't have happened. Fight wouldn't have taken place. It was Garcia. Let's make no mistake. This fight is happening because Garcia, to his own detriment, gave in to every one of their demands. Mm-hmm. The Davis people gave in to nothing. Everything has gone their way.
Yeah, because people are saying, oh, well, it sounds like an excuse from Garcia. Whatever you want to call it, somebody demanded that, and he accepted. So, but I'm saying, why ask for it in the first place? And I don't, somehow, it doesn't seem like it was a Caleb Plant type tactic, like the one he uses against the Benavides, where he said, all right, you're going to accept this, and it was a negotiation tactic because he wanted to see if they were going to refuse or not. This just seems like something that was holding up the negotiations, because this lasted quite a while, this type of negotiating and working out and ironing out these deals. So yeah, man, I think you're right. I think Ryan Garcia deserves some credit. Now, whether people are going to say, oh, well, it's an excuse. Hey, listen, he's being weight trained. And people are saying, yeah, well, what about Canelo? Hey, Canelo does it. It's bad too. I've talked about it before in regards to the Kovalev fight, which I believe he dehydrated him. And look, somebody mentioned in I forget which chat, says Ryan Garcia should just say, look, he's got enough money. He should say, fuck it and pay the fine and come in at whichever weight he wants to, if they want to play that game.
Right, because is that what it comes down to? I'm sure the fine is probably pretty excessive, though, because I'm sure if there was like $10,000, that's what they would do. They'd say, fuck it, like Danny Jacobs did. I'll take the small fine and lose the chance to win the IFB belt, the IBF belt, rather, and, blow the weight. But, yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to know the crutch of those negotiations, just look at the fact that the Davis people, this is how it's going to be. There's going to be a rematch clause if we lose. If we win, absolutely no rematch clause. And if we lose, we have a rematch clause, and we're still the A side and determine every factor, including where the fight can be shown.
My goodness gracious!
That was the fucking thing. Yeah, that's a fact. That was reported on. Oscar talked about it. They were demanding. Well, Steve was on the show talking about it. That was crazy. At that point, I thought, honestly, Golden Boy was going to walk away. I would have told them personally, go fuck themselves. Oh. But then again, they need each other, because Shakur Stevens would beat the dog shit out of both of them. and Barris, both of them. I believe Haney could probably beat both of them. Loma would beat both of them. So what are those guys going to do? They need each other.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. This is, make no mistake about it, gentlemen. This is a money fight. When they said that this is the best, the two best fighters in lightweight fighting, they didn't word it that way. I forget what they said, but I think they said this is the best lightweight fight. What does that mean? I mean, it's the biggest money fight. But these guys are certainly not the best lightweights in the world. Not even. I mean, look, the man is the guy with all the belts, with the lineal championship. That's Devin Haney. He beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. It's not these two, but it's a good fight. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to shit on it. I'm just saying it's.
Did they release their pays yet? Because that's what they're saying. It's the biggest fight in the lightweight division. Okay, what are they getting paid?
I don't know about that.
That would determine. You know what I mean? If it's the biggest fight.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, though. It's something. Hold on. They asked. Well, that's what I was wondering. Why is the fight at a catchweight? Garcia mentioned the catchweight. Calvin Ford. They asked him something about the weight or the fight, and he said, "Well, we had to work certain things out." And we got what we like. He was very vague about who was asking for the weight, but I mean, obviously at this point, they're not denying that they are the ones that asked for a catch weight and a rehydration clause. So again, you're gonna see a lot of people on Twitter and in other channels saying that this is Ryan Garcia's fault for accepting it, and I agree with that. But I'm also asking, why does there have to be a rehydration clause in the first place? In other words, if Garcia would have refused the rehydration clause, does that mean no fight? And if it means no fight, then why would Tank Davis' side be afraid to fight a guy if he's allowed to hydrate himself properly? I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like, because again, you look back at what's been going on in the past, Tank Davis is the one who made comments about Garcia looking big, about him being on PEDs. So, I don't know, this is indicative of something else going on. But Jimmy, I gotta tell you, man, they gotta really work on these announcements. This was a vanilla press conference. I'm not asking for a scuffle, but you know what they should have done? They should have done a video where they're sitting around in a table having dinner and doing truth or dare. And then at the end, they tell, like, Tank Davis, I dare you to fight Ryan Garcia. And then he says, yeah, and then there's music all over the place. Wouldn't that have been better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any money, Mr. BDA, involved. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to keep it limited. Where was this press conference held? Was it Vegas?
This was New York. Tomorrow, I believe, is Los Angeles.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know, man.
So
hey, listen,
Vegas
it's
so
a big
Los
fight,
Angeles
man.
tomorrow, New York today, huh?
Listen, this is the biggest fight so far in boxing. Unless Canelo fights somebody else or Joshua fights Wilder, that could be a fantastic, terrific event. But so far, this is the fight. And listen, I know some people don't like it, but it is what it is. It's two money guys fighting each other. We get a phone call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like.
And that's, I just got to push, but biggest fight. And it's just, it's so bizarre. Oh, you got phone calls? Every said I didn't hear that. Okay. Grab it.
Let's see if it's 562. You're on the air. 562. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, no, I was just thinking while I was listening to you guys, I forgot, neither of them have belts, so they're not fighting for anything on the line, right? This is just a money fight. It's just the two best lightweights apparently in the division.
You know what? They could market this as, yes, and I think they mentioned this during the press conference. This is to see who is going to be the face of boxing for the next 10 years.
I mean, at least it's being made now. That's what I'm happy about. But that was the most boring. I stopped watching the press conference like halfway. It's just no one's throwing punches, no one's yelling at each other. I was like, wow, this is pretty tame for Tank Davis at least. I thought Ryan was going to try and push his buttons, but I don't know. Like you guys said, it's pretty vanilla. But I'll buy the pay-per-view. I'm still going to watch the fight.
Absolutely, Jimmy. Are you going to buy it?
No. Fuck no, absolutely not.
I'm
never buying another PVC. It doesn't belong in a pay-per-view. I'm done getting bent over by a sport that doesn't give a fuck about me. I'll watch it,
at least close.
But I'm not. I'm done buying pay-per-views on that aren't warranted. Because then I'm contributing to the problem. The only way this is going to stop, people are going to have to stop buying them, or this is going to become just what it is. You'll have to pay $80 for every fight they throw together. When there's no money, let's have the fans finance it. So, yeah, that's my position.
Caller, what do you think about
Jimmy,
that?
how many pay-per-views do you think this is going to do? I think at least do 800,000 minimum.
It's
what do you think?
What I would do is you would have to look at this. Okay, Davis has done 5 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Average them out, they're under 200,000. The average number is below 200,000. Garcia has never done a pay-per-view. So what we're basically banking on is there enough interest in the casuals out there to 2 names would, or again, well, actually, Garcia's, will his fan base on Instagram, which is mainly, from what I can see, young Hispanic girls or middle-aged gay men. To me, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of buys for boxing events out of that. So I'd be shocked, personally, if that thing does anywhere over 400,000. Shocked. If it got 800,000,
I think,
fuck, I'd be blown away.
I mean, in a way, I think because Garcia's never done a pay-per-view event, it could help in a way. So, like, okay, we want to watch him, we got to buy it. And if his fan base is, enough to want to pay $80 to watch it, it could help in a way that this is his first pay-per-view on Showtime. So, I mean, that's just speculation, but that's just what I think.
No, I hear you. Now, what did his last fight do on whatever was on DAZN? That was his last fight. Did they ever release the numbers?
I think I looked it up one time. I could find out right now. Who was the guy again? Fortuna? Is that it?
It was Fortuna,
yeah.
I'm Googling it right now, and I can't... Ryan Garcia, Fortuna, DAZN ratings, I can't find anything.
Rating.
What about Campbell? What did he do against Campbell? There's got to be one of his fights where you can actually find out the numbers.
That wasn't... I was going to say, because it's all on DAZN, so it's a little bit different from Showtime. I mean, I don't know how well they release it from their point of view.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, yeah, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to try to find the ratings to see what he did. I know he didn't fill up the venue. But listen, caller, we got to move on to another phone call. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No. I mean, I was just, I hope it, get some action going at the press conference. I don't know. Start talking back and forth. Throw something. I don't know. Better be more exciting, or it might be a little bit disappointing than you might think, but that's all I got to say.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your call. There's going to be another one tomorrow, though. There's going to be another one tomorrow, another press conference. So let's see what they do afterwards. All right, well, shout out to you, man. Take it easy.
Are you guys going to be live again tomorrow?
If they get into a fist fight or something, absolutely. If not, I got better things to do.
Oh yeah.
All right, take it easy, 562. Thank you for your call.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we gotta dig up the ratings, the Fortuna ratings. We gotta dig that up because I just Googled it and I can't find anything, and I can't do 2 things.
Yeah, I tried to find it earlier and I couldn't find anything because that would determine it too. Because my thing is this: if he hasn't done big numbers before, and his Instagram followers, again, which is everybody's leaning on, if it didn't translate into big numbers in his past fights, why would it be this fight? Again, it would be because of Davis, because they're fighting each other. I just find a guy who can't crack 200,000 on a regular basis against a guy who's never done a pay-per-view suddenly going to do anywhere near $1 million. I'd be shocked. I just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, I'm thinking $500,000, but we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. Hold on a second. Who's next? 682. You're on the air. 682. What's on your mind?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well, man. What's on your mind?
What's going on?
Yeah, man. I was just watching the press conference. I know they're in LA tomorrow, and I know the commentators are saying that the winner would definitely be the face of boxing or whatever. But
that's right.
I believe, in my opinion, the winner of this match definitely sets up a Devin Haney fight for the Undisputed.
I don't know, caller. I think Devin Haney, whatever happens against Lomachenko this May, I think he's moving up, man.
I mean, because look, you can't fight Ryan Garcia and not fight Devin Haney. In my opinion.
I agree with you, but they're not fighting him else.
Ultimately, brother, the crown, nobody's the crown. Undisputed, when you're undisputed, you're the crown. Like, I respect Tank Davis and I respect Ryan Garcia, but Devin Haney, that's the man. So that's what I'm saying. If Tank, after Tank and Ryan, I need to see the winner versus Devin Haney for surely, because we know for 100% Devin Haney is going to beat Lomachenko. I don't care what anybody says. You could cash that. You could take that to the bank right now.
I'd rather not, but because I'm not as confident as you are. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. You're saying, look, if you want to call yourself the man in any division, you got to beat the guy who beat the guy, and neither Garcia or Tank Davis beating each other.
You got to hold all the bet. You got to be undisputed. Devin Haney is the king right now, bro. I don't care what nobody says. I mean, you got guys that have no belts. You're calling yourself to the belt to like. You cannot leave Devin Haney out the conversation when he's the undisputed guy. All 5 belts, WBC, WBA, IBO, IBF, and Ring Magazine. Come on, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah, but
those belts were always there, and Davis never made any attempt to go at any of them unless it was a junior version of one of them.
There you go. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
And to be honest, guys, I was at that Ryan Garcia Luke Campbell fight in Dallas, Texas, at the American Airlines Center, and I will say that stadium was empty, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was
empty. It was empty because that was during the pandemic. They had all those half capacity thing going on, and people had to spread it around.
It was cool. But yeah, I mean, I already bet my friend $10,000 on Tank versus Ryan. Tank's gonna get him, man.
$10,000, man. Let me ask you. What do you, without going into specifics, what do you do for a living?
Underwater welding.
Under what?
Oh no, good.
Weld underwater.
Underwater. Wow.
Yeah,
holy
underwater
shit.
welder.
Hold on, did he say underwater welder? I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, it's good money.
Yes, underwater welding.
The Coast Guard makes more money though.
Wait a minute. Where were you when the pipeline, the Russian pipeline, got blown up?
Come on, man. That's not something I can say on radio, but
maybe you're an undercover SEAL or something.
But yeah, man, definitely. You can't. I mean, the Tank Ryan fight. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a huge fight. But I mean, ultimately, the winner is not king. I mean, you got to go through Devin Haney and take all the belts if you want to call yourself king. That's why Tank said. Let me remind you guys. Tank said, I'm going to take care of Ryan Garcia, and after Ryan Garcia, I'm going to go take care of Devin Haney, and that's it.
Well, we'll see if he stays true to his word. Anyway, listen, caller, good luck with your bet, and call back next time, right, man?
Yes, sir.
All right, take it easy out there. Underwater welding.
Dude's got a fascinating job. Yeah, no, that's a fascinating job. Underwater welding. Some guy. I mean, they have to go like sometimes when they work, they have to like do a shift on, and then they have to spend like 2 hours in a decompression tube because they do deep water under welding. They get hundreds of dollars an hour to do that job. Very dangerous.
He's gonna look to cash in on even more with that bet of his 10,000. Jeez Louise. I think he meant 10,000 pesos. Maybe that's what he meant. All right, let's go to another phone call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really help us out. 830. What's on your mind?
Hey, BBA. Hey, Jimmy. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing great as well, man. What's up?
All right. After this press conference, I don't think a casual fan was excited. That's not how you promote it towards the casual. Like, I mean, I've heard virtual press conferences by Showtime be better than this.
Yeah, this was boring, man. I gotta tell you.
It was boring, dude. It was extremely boring, and then to see Tank come out on this ridiculous fur and his fucking sunglasses on. Last time somebody wore fur, he got knocked out, and that was Rolly.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're absolutely right. A bad omen, if there ever was one.
Yeah, it was like 90 degrees there that day too. Fucking Rolly was sweating like a slave, and he's fucking walking around in that fur like an idiot. Oh my god.
But yes, caller. Caller, I'm not asking for a scuffle. I don't want them to fight, but clearly they had things to say to each other, and it seems like they held back until the end when their microphones were off. What's up with that?
if this is such a heated rivalry between these two that they don't like each other, at least sell it. At least sell it because to me this is going to sell 250,000 at most right now. At most 250,000. They're going to hit Jake Paul 750.
Yeah, let me ask you this: do you think they're going to look at the feedback from the press conference and tomorrow they're going to try to amp it up a little bit more?
The Twitter doesn't lie to them. You know what I mean? All the people online are saying, "Man, what the hell is this? Was it a bruncheon?" I heard Ring IQ call it a bruncheon, a Showtime bruncheon. I was like, "Yeah, there's no shit. That was a bruncheon."
That's right. You had the same energy as you see at the early bird special when you go to the fucking local Denny's or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was no energy. That's right. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
No energy.
Listen.
Everybody had low T in there.
Low testosterone. All right. Well, listen. Hopefully they amp it up a little bit. Again, I'm not asking for a scuffle. I'm not asking for a fist fight. Just asking for a little energy. I mean, again, they're depending on the casuals. Like the caller said, they're depending on the casuals to really drive the numbers up above the average here. And today, this wasn't it. But caller, are you going to be buying the pay-per-view?
What? You know what? I live next to a casino. I'll probably go to the casino and watch it there.
Oh, there you go. Casino, Indian casino or Vegas, Atlantic City? What
Indian.
are we talking about?
I got the Indians.
All right, there you go. So you're not gonna be looking for any scalped tickets to get it.
No BBA.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen,
you guys have a good day.
You too, man. Thank you for politely laughing at my pun. Take it easy out there.
All right, yes,
that was good.
That wasn't good, Jimmy. That wasn't good.
That was good.
That's why I faked
that was like some Benny. That was like some Benny Youngman joke.
All right, now
you should have the drums ready.
I used to have the sound. Yeah, I used to have the sound effect for the sound. I don't know what happened with the drums. All right, we got shout out to Carlos Roque for his contribution to Super Chat. Says Tank beat his girl for that puffy pullover and oh, come on. That's what somebody was saying the same thing in the chat of the press conference. They said, "Hey, why is Tank Davis late?" Somebody goes, "Oh, he's beating up his wife." I was like, "Oh, come on." He said, "Home beating up his wife." So shout out to Carlos Roque for his contribution to the Super Chat. Let's go to
the poop out of his toothbrush.
Ah, come on, Jimmy. Jeez, Luis. All right. It's supposed to be a classy show. Let's go to another phone call. See if they can help us class it up. 949, you're in the air. 949, what's on your mind? 949, you're on the air. Can you hear me, 949? I think we've got an underwater welder. He can't hear us. All right, listen, 949, call back when you're there because I cannot hear you, or maybe you got some technical issue. Yeah, he dropped that. All right, let's go to 805. 805, you're on the air. 805, what's on your mind?
¿Cómo te va, compa?
Me va bastante bien, ¿y a ti?
I mean,
más o menos.
Más o menos. Wait, okay, is this Amok or who is this?
I just want to say, yeah, this is Amok.
I recognize the voice.
I just want to say the obvious. Ryan basically won the conference, you know. He kind of looked like he was in a biker gang, kind of. Tank looked like he was in an LGBT gang.
Come on.
No, I'm being honest, man. I'm just, being real. He kept stuttering a lot. He had poor people skills, had poor selection of words. Like, it was terrible for him.
All right, but
I'm disappointed in both of them because they had these social media, thumb wars. And when they were face to face, they were really quiet. It was disappointing.
You're right. But this wasn't a job interview. No, actually, excuse me. No, I was going to say the opposite. It is a job interview. You're selling a product here. You're selling something. It's a sale. Yeah. No, you're right, Amok. You're absolutely right, man. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so basically what you're saying, this is a job interview, and, if this was your career of choice and you're trying to get hired for a career, this is a big L.
Do you think maybe the way Tank Davis was dressed, he's got a career as a florist? Maybe, working as a part? Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely looked like, he was making those Valentine's cards and stuff like that, you know?
Right. With a little glitter, just to make it pop out. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hopefully tomorrow they do something. But again, I don't want to hear people, if they do get into a fist fight or there's a riot tomorrow, I don't want people coming back saying, is this what you want, BDA? Because no, I don't want violence. I'm a good Christian man. I don't want outside the ring violence. What I'm asking for is, like Amok said, they had a lot to say on social media. Where was that energy today? What happened?
Well, I mean, some of the energy was on his clothes. He looked like a bootleg Bret Hart.
He looked like a black Liberace. That's what he looked like. But listen, hopefully tomorrow, like you said, hopefully tomorrow they step it up. Hey, Amok, I got to ask everybody, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. Are you buying the pay-per-view?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I have a lot of relatives that were telling me, when am I going to show another pay-per-view at my house? I mean, I'm not trying to gloat or anything, but I got an 85-inch Samsung. I'm going to put it on for the family, and then let's go.
Look at you, man. Being a generous host, that's what it's all about. All right, well, Amok, we got to move on to another call.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Hey, it's fun, though. It's fun. Thank you for your call, Amok, and we'll call back next time as always. All right, please? Take it easy out there.
All right, thanks. See you.
Absolutely. Let's go to another. Hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. All that helps us out. Let's go to another phone call. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
Can you hear me, fuckers?
We can hear you loud and clear, fuckface. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to say, Hank, very unprofessional. He's probably high off his ass. Looks like a lesbian.
Come on.
Shit.
I mean, 2 hours late, and then I honestly, it was a shame. It was a boring ass press conference after all he talks. So I'm about that life. I'm about that street life. And he shows up there, always late, says nothing, has the IQ of Floyd Mayweather. He can't even speak. He's like Joe Biden.
Oh. He's comparing Tank Davis to a senile old Joe Biden. My goodness, this caller is vicious. Go ahead, caller. Keep going.
I hope Brian knocks the fucking neurons back into Tank, because that dude, what he did learn from Floyd was to beat his wife and to not know the English language.
Oh, jeez, Luis. My goodness. Well, listen, I can't disagree with any of that. I cannot disagree with any of that. I guess the only thing I can ask you, because I'm flabbergasted here at the viciousness of your attack, will you be buying the pay-per-view?
Hell no. I'm going to go to Twin Peaks, get some wings, and watch the fight, or legally stream it, either one. I'm not paying. I'm not supporting that dude.
Well, there you go. I mean, hey, listen, they did it to themselves, right? The boxing business, it did it to itself.
Yeah, PBC and Tank did it to themselves.
Well, there you go. Caller, that was a lot of energy you brought, a lot of fire. Hopefully, as the fight, hold on now, because I'm a little curious now, though. If the fight gets closer, or as the fight gets closer and the hype builds up, is it possible you'll change your mind and say, you know what, yeah, these guys deserve my money?
I will not pay for this guy because he Tank. If it was any other else, but Tank is literally one of the worst fucking persons I've ever seen outside of boxing. This dude is a dumbass in the ring and outside the ring. I hate him. I may pay Villa, Roman Villa, it's in the undercard, or I mean the card as the co-main event against Booth. He deserves that money. Tank does not.
There you go. By the way, tell Kens in the chat saying that this is Devin Haney on the line. Is this Devin Haney?
No.
Okay, because he thought that the viciousness towards Tank Davis was probably indicative of it being Devin Haney. But listen, caller, like I said, I can't disagree with any of what you said. If you don't want to buy the pay-per-view, that's your right. But I guess some people are going to have something to say about you illegally streaming it if you choose to do so. Call back, because I'm very curious to see if you change your mind 2 weeks before the fight, or if you
Devin
actually say, you know... What's that?
Devin Haney's gay. All he loves to do is cuddle men.
Hey, this call is dropping a lot of truth bombs. All right, well, listen, 832. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there. We got to make this guy a regular panelist. I like this style. Shout out to Top Dog for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Ryan better put on his foot on Tank's lifeless body and then yell out Shakur and Haney next. Then give them cutthroat gestures. Hey, you know what, Top Dog? That's one way to sell the fight. But first, he's going to have to beat him if he wants to step on his neck. That's for sure. So shout out to Top Dog coming out with the PR initiatives. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 949. 949, you're on the air. 949, what's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, BDA? How's everybody doing today?
We're doing fantastic. Hope you're doing well as well, man. What's up?
Yeah, to that underwater welder, like, I think he's a little delusional if he's taking that to the bank already. I can see Tank knocking out Garcia, but I can also see Garcia outboxing Davis. And what I mean by that is that Davis tends to take off the first, 5-6 rounds, and you could see it in his last couple fights. If it wasn't for, those last minute knockouts, he would have lost to Barrios or, everybody that been giving them, a tough fight. So, I mean, I don't think neither of them are proven. He has 2 Burger King belts and 1 legitimate belt, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
They both need each other. And what that guy also said, I thought was funny because I don't think that Devin Haney easily takes out Lomachenko unless Lomachenko has already lost a step. But if he's coming back how he was before the war, then I think it's a 60-40 fight for Lomachenko winning. What do you guys think about that?
Jimmy, what do you think about that? What the welder said that Haney was going to whoop Lomachenko. The caller doesn't agree with that.
Yeah, no, I'm not in agreement with that dude's take either. I'm more in agreement with this caller. I don't think it's a given Haney's going to whoop him at all, because I think a lot of people are underestimating Lomachenko's power, and his inside game is excellent. So I think it's imperative he jumps on him early, though. The first time he hits Haney, he has to hit him very hard because that'll change Haney's whole mindset. That's my opinion.
And one last thing on that before I leave. If we have the same ref from Figueroa, Maxayo, then for sure Lomachenko's going to win, because they're just going to be pulling points out of nowhere. So
exactly. Yeah, we want that. We need that referee.
An equally as good as ref,
Exactly. We need that referee, man. We need that referee in that fight. All right, well, listen, caller. Good call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 85. And don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. 856, you're on the air. 856. What's on your mind?
Hey, so, what's up, BDA? This is Jay.
This is who?
Yo, I don't understand. This is Jay. Jason I'm from Philly.
Oh, all right. Shout out to you, man. What's up, man?
Oh, chilling. Love your show. A lot of people, I'm hearing a lot of guys getting on my man's jacket. It's literally just desire. We're judging this guy off of his clothes, and I'm guessing the way he speaks. Like I said, this isn't an interview. Like Floyd Mayweather was the most polished speaker for the longest time, and yet he still accomplished what he did. You know what I mean? And two, like I said, and I think the press conference, what you were saying that it was boring. They already sold the fight on social media. They've been going back and forth on YouTube and Instagram for years. What else is there to say?
Well, it's like Amak said, though. It's they should have kept the same energy because caller. Let me ask your opinion. Do you think any Zoomer out there who's not a boxing fan, they're a Ryan Garcia fan, but they're not a boxing fan, do you think they're going to look at this press conference and walk away impressed by what they saw? Do you think this is going to help sell for the fight?
No, like I said, maybe not, but maybe, you have a point there. But the power of social media is different. You can edit things, you can hype things up. They've been going this for years, and celebrities will pretty much go. So that'll garnish. I think the fight kind of just sold itself. I don't expect it to undersell. We're saying easy easily.
like over 250 buys easily. But I think they did all the work on social media, honestly, between the going back and forth. I mean, they tweeted, they Instagram, they did about everything but text each other. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like I said, like literally, the words have been already spoken. So, but that's all I really had to say. Like I love your show. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, y'all keep doing your thing.
Well, thank you for your call, and stay busy out there in Philadelphia, man. Take it easy out there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not asking for a fist fight, but it was like you expect a little back and forth so that you can give the reporter something to play with, with the quotes and all that. And maybe they'll do that tomorrow.
Sorry, I'm trying to jump in when you're not talking. I'm listening on the echo.
I just said that maybe they'll do that tomorrow. That's all I wanted to finish with.
It came across to me like they both had somewhere else to be. You know what I mean? Like okay, we'll do this, whatever. Like it was just brought up to him that day. Hey, by the way, what are you doing? Let's stop by this place and talk about the fight. Like it was just low energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's like Tank Davis had to return some videotapes, and Ryan Garcia had a meeting afterwards. It says, it just looked like they didn't want to really be there. And I'm telling you, tomorrow that they're probably gonna get told, look, you gotta. And the other, what would have helped too? Fucking hold it in front of a crowd or something. That's what they do with the UFC. They hold it in front of a crowd. They get that the crowd gets to ask questions. It's there's an interaction going on. This is right. Press only. They get to sit there, and then they get to sit around in the round table, and they get to ask them the usual questions. Tank, how are you feeling coming into this fight? How's preparation? It's like, shit, who cares, man? Let the fans
that's too dangerous, though, Mr. BDA. Fans, imagine that. Imagine you and me or somebody there.
Oh.
Yo, Tank, how come you haven't fought anybody in 6 years, dude? Why did it take 6 years to finally fight somebody? Fucking Garcia, why did you duck Devin Haney twice? You know what I mean? Like, why are you calling yourself second this? Oh, yeah, that could be very ugly. That could put him in a spot.
Jimmy, forget you and I. Imagine some of our fucking callers or some of the people in our chat. Hey, Tank, why are you dressed like a fag? It's like it would be nonstop, man. They'd have to call security and escort a bunch of brigands out of the fucking press conference. All right.
Ryan, if you lose this fight, are you going to open an Only page?
Yeah, OnlyFans. Yeah, you're gonna be swinging your cock there too. I mean, it's like you're right. Too dangerous. What was it that the guy said in Full Metal Jacket? Joker, I've been in there. It's too hot and too dangerous. As it is, my ass belongs. What was it said? In the rear with the gear. Hey, that's the way they do the press conferences. In the rear with the gear. They're not out in the open lines. I was out in the open lines. I was out in the trench. Charlie all around me. You didn't hear one complaint out of me. But anyway, I'm just built different. Let's go to the phone lines here. Let's go to 805.
I wanted to go to an ancient culture and kill them. I wanted to come in an ancient culture and kill them.
Sick bastards, man. All right, 805, you're on the air. 805, what's on your mind? 805, you're on the air. Going once. Going twice.
Yeah, sorry, I had to do something real quick. It's me again.
How dare you?
There's a few things I forgot to mention. One of the things is Tank being late, really unprofessional. Mm-hmm. Making everybody wait. Ryan seemed frustrated for it. Another thing I wanted to bring up, Tank mentioned Ryan's girl. He brought his girl or something like that, making this, just basically trying to insult him in some way. I guess he's upset that he didn't bring Puff Daddy.
Oh, wait a minute.
So, yeah, you didn't see that picture where he picks him up, where Puff Daddy picks up Gervonta Davis?
I've seen the thumbnail, but I have not seen the video. It's too ghoulish for me.
Yeah, man. It's weird. Weird energy. There's one more thing. They were phrasing the questions. I don't know if this is true or not, but for the Showtime, they were saying that they were interviewing Gervonta Davis and not Ryan Garcia. I don't know if that's true or not. Do any of you guys know?
I saw them interviewing Ryan Garcia before the press conference started because they needed to buy some time. And then they interviewed Tank Davis afterwards. So, but they did give him time beforehand. So,
was the Weasel there?
Yes, he was. The weasel was there.
Okay.
He was chirping and then making, quick little movements, very jittery, like he hadn't been fed yet. But yeah, he was there, and it was weird because it was the first time they had him on. So it's almost like they're trying to push hard for, hey, everything's okay here, business as usual over at Showtime Boxing. But Amok, yeah, man, they did give Ryan Garcia some time beforehand.
Okay, and then this is to the caller making excuses for Tank. Not all of us seen the Twitter feeds when they're arguing. They should have just did that in person like that. All of us would have, seen it. It would have helped maximize the pay-per-view sales. He's just coping, basically.
Oh, come on, coping. All right, well, listen, I agree with you, though. I agree that I agree. They should have done something to really give the press something to work off with. But anyway, listen, Amok, thank you for your call, and take it easy out there.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA?
What's up? Hey, wait a minute. You called earlier, right?
Happy Woman. Yeah, Happy Woman's Day.
Oh, is that today? I had no interest in that at all. But what's up, man?
Say that to Tank. Anyways.
Oh, come on.
I wanted to say, what kind of bullshit-ass things are they saying now? They're saying Ryan's a bitch, and all that. So Canelo wanted to put these rehydration clauses on people, especially on black fighters. They're like, oh, Canelo's ducking black excellence. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Why? Like,
I agree, Cole.
They get mad when when they do it. It's like, oh, it's casual. It's normal.
Well, I mean, you expect consistency from that side of the street. I mean, come on, man. It's you're looking at the wrong source for boxing knowledge and boxing wisdom. I mean, you're not going to get it from that side. That's for sure.
Well, it's very dumb because they put these expectations on other people, but as soon as they do it, they completely forget about the whole thing.
Hey, listen, we do what we do. We do what we do. Calvin Ford. Well, listen, caller, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. It's they're gonna blame Ryan Garcia for accepting the rehydration clause, but they're not asking why they needed to put that rehydration clause in the first place. Can we talk about that first before we start blaming anybody else?
He fought Mario Barrios at 140.
Exactly. There you go.
So why is he forcing Ryan to go 136?
I mean, hey, that's why, like Jimmy said, that's why they don't want anybody in the press. In the crowd asking questions. Because somebody's going to ask this question and they're going to be stammering and scrambling for an answer. Well, we'll see what happens.
Their fans are crazy.
You're cutting up there, 832. You're cutting off. In any event, we got to move on to another phone call, man. But thank you for your call, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Bye.
All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 330. 330, you're on the air. 330, what's on your mind?
Hey, BDA, this is Will Lynch from Ohio.
Oh, Will Lynch from Ohio. What's up, man?
Amateur night at the Apollo?
What's that?
Did we all enjoy amateur night at the Apollo, bro? Bro, I've seen more energy at a fucking morgue than I've seen at that press conference, bro. It was so fucking boring they had to drag out fucking Uncle Phil from his grave, dude. Like, what the fuck was that?
Hey, but you gotta give.
And then you had fucking Javante. Oh no, go ahead.
You gotta give Ellerby credit for keeping it short, though. He kept it short.
Oh, he kept it short, all right. What was he doing? Robbing Nelly's fucking closet?
Oh, wait a minute.
Like, give me a break.
Suffice to say,
for real, like you. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, because we got a delay. Suffice to say, you didn't enjoy the press conference.
Dude, I swear to God, I could have had more enjoyment watching fucking cats fight on YouTube than I watched that press conference, man. That was ridiculous.
I've watched cats on YouTube. You're right.
Thing is, man, I'm telling you, they need to do something to sell this fight, because if they're doing this polite shit, then then nobody's going to be interested. Like, I was tuning in to see if they were going to talk shit. They didn't even bother to do that. Like, what are we doing here if we ain't here to sell a fight? Are we here to fucking sell a Gatorade or something? I don't know. Like,
well, caller, the worst part was that Tank Davis had something to say, but then he dialed it back. And then when the microphones were off, then that's when they started joining. It's like, what's going on here? It's just completely mismanaged.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Is this PG or is this boxing?
That's right.
Like, man, come on. Like, remember when, would Oscar De La Hoya has sold as many tickets as he did if Mayorga didn't get in his face at the press conference, man?
Good
Do you
point.
think Greg Hagen could have sold out the arena in Mexico with 132 Mexicans if he wasn't talking that shit to Julio Cesar Chavez?
That's a good point.
You just need to bring that energy. That's all we're asking.
Caller, you're preaching to the choir. Well, you're right on the money. Right on the. You should receive some money. You should receive some money based on the things you're pointing out. Don't expect it from me though. We're on that PPC plan here. We'll give it to you in increments.
Oh, it's all good, bro.
All right. Well, listen, 330.
Yeah, man. I hope you have a blessed day, bro.
Right back at you, man. Many blessings. Many blessings. Have a good one. You too, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, don't forget to hit that like button. Fellas, hit that like. Really helps us out. Hope you're enjoying some of the calls here, some of the comments we've got. We got more calls here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, Steve. Is this Steve Kim? This sounds like maybe it's not.
Yes, it is. I'm on my way to the office. I'm here on the 10 freeway heading to the 60, going to East LA, Montebello. My office. I'm going to pretend to work for the next couple of hours. I'm just enjoying your show. I think you guys are more entertaining and doing a better job of selling the fight on April 15th than the press conference. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing fantastic.
Yeah, I knew. Anytime I hear that prefix 323, I always know it's Steve because it's actually right in his Twitter handle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the area code. It used to be 213, and then 323 came about 25, 30 years later. But anyway, guys, just enjoying listening to your show. And it's interesting, guys. I didn't watch the press conference. I had to film my segment with Jason Whitlock today for Fearless. And it just got me thinking again, Jimmy and BDA. I'm so glad I don't cover this stuff anymore the way I once did. I don't even care about the entertainment value. I've been to a lot of boring press conferences, and you can always make up for it by feeding me a really good lunch. But the worst is when guys are late. And when they're late by like more than an hour, and if you're specifically writing about boxing and you're in this on this beat, or you have an editor that says we got to get something from this fight, that's like the worst part of the job. And so I'm kind of flipping through Twitter, and everyone's on their laptops kind of complaining about Tank not showing up. It's just like, look, I don't know if this is going to impact pay-per-view sales. I know a lot of people are complaining that there weren't fireworks today, but keep this in mind, guys. 95%, if not more, of the pay-per-view buy happens on the day of the fight. So, they could build up to it. They could do all that. But Jimmy, I've been reading some books, and I just finished the Marvelous Marvin Hagler book. Finished a couple of them related to him the past couple of months. And, we're about the same age, Jimmy and BDA. Isn't it amazing how they lowered the bar for what is now considered a super fight?
Unreal. Absolutely unreal, Steve. It really is. Well, you got guys who pretend to do what you do for a living, pretend to be, that like your colleagues, and the other ones labeling it a super fight. You got them saying it's going to sell 1 million pay-per-views, calling them the Four Kings, like actually putting them in the same, breath as the, Leonard and Duran and those guys back then. It's farcical.
Yeah, Hagler Hearns was a very interesting thing because just getting some context on it. They didn't actually know how big of a fight it really was. They thought it was a fight. Bob Arum organized a 14-day, 21-city press tour where they each got their private jet, and they just jetted out. And again, you can argue that social media, the internet age, maybe you don't need to do that anymore. But I actually think you're missing a good amount of personal and individual engagement with the media in the major outlets if without those press tours. But that fight was so big, guys. There was an idea from Irving Rudd. He was this world-famous publicist back then. God rest his soul. I just read his book. He had an idea that since that fight, Hagler-Hearns, was on April 15th, Hagler and Hearns actually did a public service announcement where they squared off against each other on behalf of the Internal Revenue Service. So that's the time, and they had national commercials. We all know that Hagler ended up getting national endorsements. Hearns had a couple of endorsements that were more regional. So it's just a different time and place. I think the fight's going to be okay. What I don't like, guys, I just want to point this out. Ryan Garcia bringing up the rehydration clause and the catch weight. You know what? I don't want to hear you bitching about it. You agreed to it. You had a representative, Al Heyman, been working on your behalf and Golden Boys. Live with it. I don't want to hear him using that excuse. You could have leveraged a better deal. You didn't. You put your name on the dotted line. So I don't want to hear that being used as an excuse. I'm not going to even rip Tank. You get the advantages that you press for. Bottom line, guys.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Do you think he would have gotten the fight, though, had he refused it?
You know what? That's a fair argument. But then you know what you do? Tell the truth. Just say this is what they wanted. Let the people decide who ducked who. But for him to even bring that out and already kind of throwing it out there, you know what, Ryan? Then you should have had more balls, or you should have instructed your team, your management, not the promoter, because the promoter had a different feeling about this. They just said, look, we just want a fair fight. That's all we wanted. But if you allow yourself to be leveraged to a point where you give up every single physical advantage, and by the way, I've always thought Tank was going to win this fight regardless. I'll go on the record right now. I think Tank knocks him out in 8. Okay? But if you agree to a deal knowing that you're 50% of this thing, because he's big too. This isn't just, it's not like Tank does a 500,000 pay-per-view buys without him. I don't think he's ever really broke 200,000. So it's not like you're acquiescing to prime Oscar De La Hoya or Floyd Mayweather here. You know? So, I mean, seriously. So this is just a poor job of negotiating in a situation where you had a little bit more leverage. Guys, before I let other callers on, I just want to let you know, I believe that Loma Haney is coming close to completion. My understanding is that the drug testing agreement has been worked out. I think it's just a matter of making sure that Saudi Arabia doesn't come in with an 11th hour exorbitant offer, and I believe that fight will happen in Las Vegas. Usyk Fury is wavering, guys, which is really bad news, and things kind of changed once they couldn't get the fight to the Middle East, and now they're bickering over 50-50, 60-40 like Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins, and that would be an absolute buzzkill. But Loma Haney, I believe, I have a lot more confidence in that fight happening. So with that fight, this fight that we just talked about, and Inoue Fulton, I actually like the schedule this year, guys. So, you know, it's a pretty good schedule.
Hey, have you ever traveled?
I agree with you on that.
Have you ever traveled to Japan, Steve, for any of Inoue's fight or any other fight, for that matter?
No, I really haven't, and that would actually be on the bucket list, going to an Inoue fight and maybe a big fight in Britain or the UK in general. But nowadays, I don't really travel. I can kind of actually cut down the amount of fights I'm going to this year. So I don't know, maybe that window is closed. But, you know, I would like to see it. I think Inoue Fulton is one of the 2 or 3 best matchups in all of the sport. And so I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, that's it. That's all. I don't know what else. You guys have any other questions for me? I'm here to answer them.
Yeah, that's. I agree with you. That's the best fight, hands down, for me this year. I'm really looking forward to that. The classic. The one thing I find kind of funny about that fight, though, Steve, I hear a lot of people talk about it's just a puncher against a super skilled guy. I'm like, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Inoue like the 3rd highest percentage in jabs? He's got one of the best don't get hit ratios in boxing. I know maybe because he hasn't fought like someone as, I know he hasn't fought anybody as skilled like defensively as Fulton, but I think people are sleeping on this kid's ability, never mind his balance. I just don't. Yeah. And then not the Vegas odds people, because they got him, you know, as the favorite. What do you think about that, Steve?
Well, Inoue is a very sharp technician. I don't look at him as just a guy that has a club and hammers people, bludgeons them over the head. There's a real science to what he does. I also think what's surprising, is that Inoue has very quick feet. That is going to be very key against the way Fulton is going to box. And he's got quick hands. And I remember talking to Antonio Nieves, who got stopped, I believe, in 5 or 6 rounds in Inoue's American debut. And this is for a story that I did on ESPN about 3 years ago when I said, this guy might be the best fighter in the world, the way he's stopping guys that have never been stopped within the first 5 minutes of every fight. Nieves and Rudy Hernandez, the really good trainer, brother of the late, great Janar Hernandez, they both told me Inoue is the best blend of speed and power and technique that they've ever seen or currently seen in the game. So I'm with you, Jimmy, for everyone to believe that this is just a one-dimensional slugger. I think, once again, there are some stereotypes that are being kind of thrown out there in terms of what we're really getting.
Exactly. No, I agree 100% with you on that. And, I think it's going to be my thing is this, too. If he is a very defensively skilled fighter, but if Figueroa can put you in positions that you really don't want to be in, because I'm sure there was times in that Figueroa fight when he had him cornered and they were going at it, he didn't want to be in. So my point is, if Figueroa can put you in those positions, I believe Inoue can too. So that's why I'm leaning towards Inoue for this fight.
Jimmy, that fight was interesting because I was actually surprised Figueroa. Again, and that's different because Figueroa is a big guy. Tall, lanky, a lot of size. It kind of smothers and crowds you. But I was surprised how often he was able to touch up Fulton. Now, I thought Fulton won that fight late. I thought he was the cleaner puncher down the stretch. I had that like 7-5 for Scooter Fulton in a fight that could have gone either way. But one thing about Inoue is that he has very short, compact punches. The way he delivers and is able to create inertia and momentum is the way you teach it. And I also think him going to America late last year, Dougie Fisher did a story on it, to face other styles, to get a different type of look. Because fighters from different parts of the world will have different sets of technique and styles of fighting. I thought was key. And, I just think it's interesting with Inoue. The people that are detractors from Inoue, they always say, well, his best fight is against an old version of Nonito Donaire. You know what? These hypocrites, they weren't saying that about Donaire when he was wrecking undefeated fighters on PBC cards on Showtime. It's just amazing. They tell on themselves every single time. They don't have an ounce of integrity to them. It's like Coach Malachi Williams says, if they didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. But I look, Scooter has a very high boxing IQ. He's got good feet, and he is the naturally bigger fighter. But I do think, Jimmy, Inoue's quickness and speed is going to surprise Fulton.
I do too. I think he's going to be surprised. And then when you add that he's going to be in Japan, where it's just Inoue is literally like he's like their Michael Jordan over there. He's going to be like I think it's going to be overwhelming for him. I just think it's not going to help his thing unless he's able to block that out all the way. But, props on him for taking it. I don't think he had much of an option. I don't think MJ wanted anything to do with him. If Figueroa wasn't in on the rematch, obviously he wanted that the other fight. So he was but again, props on him to take it. But I just think people are underestimating him.
Jimmy, the reality is there was no other fight on the table that was going to pay Fulton $3 million as a 122-pound champion. That's just the reality. And,
exactly.
We call it prize fighting for a reason. This is by far the most lucrative fight he could have taken, and he wanted that fight. And he made it clear to everyone involved that you're not robbing me of this opportunity, and that's why it happened. So, but we'll see. I think it's really interesting that somehow Inoue has to prove himself. You look at his resume, you look at who he's beaten and how he's beaten him, the level of dominance. He's in that very rare group. I'm not saying he's number one pound for pound. I think there's like 3 or 4 guys that have really separated themselves, and he's in that rarefied air with those other 2 guys. So it'll be interesting. I think that Fulton is a really skilled technician. He's got that Philadelphia background. And he's battle-tested in his own right, so it's going to be a hell of a fight, Jimmy.
Yep, I agree.
Well, the
I
thing
just
is,
want to say too.
but anyway, guys, yeah.
Well, I was
No,
going
BJ was going to say something.
Just going to bring up. So I know you don't like the pound for pound thing and the list and all that, but if Inoue beats Fulton, is he the de facto pound for pound guy?
I would like to see how he beats him. You know, if he ekes out a split decision where there are people that believe that there was some home cooking, I would say, look, he probably holds serve, and if he's in the top 3 or 4, he probably stays in that elite class. Now, let's say he devastates Fulton or just dominates and chops him up. Now you're saying, oh, now wait a minute. He beat an undisputed, unified, confident guy that many insiders thought had too much boxing acumen for him. So that's a judgment that I would have to make, BDA, on, number one, if he wins, and then almost as important in debates like this, because it is subjective, is how he wins. That's also something I would like to see. So we can have all these discussions on the afternoon of May 8th.
That's right. That's a fair assessment.
But anyway, guys, I know you guys got callers waiting. I'm going to continue to listen, man. I appreciate you guys.
I just want to say, man, you're crushing it on fucking Jason Whitlock, dude. I never miss an episode, man. I get the notifications and just your takes on culture and everything, the way you lay it out. It's just you're crushing it on that. I really, really enjoy what you're doing on that show. So keep it up, bro. For sure.
Oh, Timmy, I appreciate you guys continuing to watch. And I after today's segment, I'm probably going to piss more people off. And for those people who hate that I'm on that show and absolutely hate me, that's even better. Thank you.
Can't wait to see it. Excellent.
That's right. The tide is turning.
All right. Talk to you guys later, man. You have a great afternoon. Appreciate you guys.
You too, Steve.
Later,
Thank
Steve.
you for calling in, man. Take it easy out there.
Later.
That was the Kimster, Steve Kim. You can check him out at Steve Kim at 323. Excuse me. Did I get that right? 323. Yes. On Twitter, snack.com as well. Bi-weekly almost, I believe, or maybe a little bit more articles on snack.com. That's K9's Corner over at snack.com. And he said a couple of weeks ago, he said that the 3 knockdown rule is returning. Still don't know when.
Yes, it is.
But it's returning.
Coming back.
So, hey, listen, man. It's about time if you ask me. I don't like to pressure anybody, but if I'm going to pressure anybody, it's going to be Steve to bring back the 3 knockdown rule. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You got to bring that podcast back. You know what? I'm going to blame Mario Lopez for that. He's always busy with his fucking Hallmark movies. They're all the same, by the way. Have you ever seen those Hallmark posters for the Hallmark movie? They all look the same, the Christmas movies. Just change the people inside the frame and everything else is the same. But anyway, that one's coming back. Shout out to Steve. But Jimmy, that's the thing though, with Stephen Fulton, I got to tell you, man, I was watching the Maloney fight, the Inoue Maloney fight. He was eating a lot of jabs in that fight. Getting his head snapped back, all the way back. I'm thinking, oh boy, Fulton's got a good jab. So if Inoue wants to win this fight, he's got to tighten up that fucking guard.
Right. Yeah, and because I believe he lands 8.6 jabs per round, which puts him third, I believe, behind Triple G and Usyk, maybe. I can't remember the exact the ratio who it goes, but so he's a very prolific jabber, and like Butler, you had to chase him around the ring. I just think, like Steve says, he has very quick feet. But Fulton, yes, is defensively sound, because that's usually the thing. He's never faced anybody as defensive as he is, and is as skilled as Fulton is. And I've never taken anything away from Fulton. I think he's one of the best fighters, American-born fighters fighting today.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw him be put in positions against Figueroa that I guarantee you, going into that fight, they talked about not getting into. Like there was times in that fight that he was pushed or caught himself in positions he didn't want to be in. And if Figueroa can do that with his feet, and the balance and the angles that Inoue has, I just think it's going to be overwhelming for him. And then you throw in Japan and all the other things. But Steve's right, though. He has to beat him decisively. If he ekes out a win, it's not, you know what I mean? I just hope it's not left up to that. I hope there's not a lot of people saying, the home cook, and that would suck. But at least I would hope then after that, some of the people, his detractors, these people piss me off more than anything. He's never fought anybody. It's like, dude, just shut up. That just tells me you've never seen him fight. You know nothing of the lower weight classes. Like you said, Neves, he fought a prime Donaire, wasn't off his feet, never been off his feet in boxing. There was nothing known of him ever going down in his 48 professional fights. And I believe Inoue blew him out in like 2 rounds. Like, just blew him out. He's got crazy one-hitter quitter power with both hands.
I mean, listen,
and he's a devastating body puncher, too.
It's like Steve said. I mean, Donaire was knocking out Caballo, I forget his name, the fellow Filipino, and before that, the Frenchman, he also stopped him, was also undefeated and younger. So obviously age didn't play a factor in that. So you can't blame Donaire. You can't take away from Inoue's win by referencing Inoue's age. May I also say, however, that just as Inoue getting hit by jabs is a problem for him, the other side of that coin is Stephen Fulton's chin. He got hurt against Angelo Leo, who's not a big puncher. He got hurt against Adam Lopez, who can, I mean, he can crack. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not Paulie Malignaggi or Corey Spinks, but you got to wonder, though, if he's getting hurt by those guys, what happens if he, because you know what the problem was when he got hurt in some of those instances? He's leading with the right uppercut, which is a big no-no. So I expect him to tighten up against his defense against Inoue, just as I expect Inoue also to tighten that defense up. That's what he did against Donaire. He wasn't fighting like he did against Maloney. So I think it depends on the competition too, on the opposition. And I think we're going to see a highly technical affair. And may I also just say, to conclude that, Jimmy, is that you said, I hope there's no controversy. I hope the fight's not close. I hope the fight's close. I hope there is controversy because I want that for the next day's episode. I want people calling in. That's what I want.
Yeah, I think he's got, like you said, that's an excellent point. Those 2 fights, he was rocked. He was rocked, and he's never fought anybody. And I understand he's coming up from 118, but that kid can crack. I can't see the power dropping that much, exactly. Where it's like, yeah, and then you throw in Japan. It's a big ass for Fulton. So again, win, lose, or draw, props on him for going there. But like you said, like Steve said, allotted to that the money. Where else was he going to go? Go make $750,000 to take out another PBC fucking no-hoper. Not saying that's what he was doing, but that's usually the PBC route. But just chump change compared to what he's going to make. You know, so.
That's right. And the other thing about that is Figueroa also hurt, I believe, Fulton to the body. And that's the thing. Everyone's, asking, well, can he handle the power? Can he handle the power? And they're imagining a headshot. Inoue can hurt you to the body as well. That's what makes him so dangerous, because just when he's got you worried about what's coming up upstairs, then he hits you with a left hook to the liver, and that's all she wrote. So it's going to be a good fight.
I forget which fighter it was. Was it Rodriguez? No, it wasn't Rodriguez. I think it might have been that tall kid from France, but I know there was a fighter. Anyway, literally, I don't even think threw a punch to the head. Like, he got it in his head. He was like, I'm just going to take this kid out with body shots. And he just, remember that fight? He just kept ripping him to the body. To the fucking dude, like, went down 3 times from body shots and just finally stopped it. Like, that's brutal. That's like someone who hates you would do that. I'd have been like, dude, punch me in my head. Please stop punching my body.
Well, I mean, if you remember, Donaire's only stoppage or loss prior to the Donaire rematch, the Inoue rematch was against, what's his name? Nicholas Walters. That was on 126. That was Donaire fighting well above his, no, excuse me, was that 126 or 130? I think it was 126. I mean,
126.
You got talking about a guy, Nonito, who used to fight at 115, I think, at some point. So, and Inoue hurt him in the first fight with a body shot. Forget the shots upstairs. That was a body shot. So this guy, Emmanuel Rodriguez too, he dropped him with a body shot in the end to wrap it up. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to watch that fight. Now, I want to implore the people out there to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. The phone lines are still open. And we got a caller here. Let's go to 214. 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's just nice to see that this fight is actually happening. Well, so far it's looking like it's going to happen. It's never really official until they're in the ring.
That's right.
But yeah, it was low energy. There was a lot of low energy. I thought there was going to be people there. I didn't know that there was no people there. Wow. So that's why there was no energy, and Tank being late, it wasn't a good look, honestly. I don't think it was a smart thing to do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, caller. It was low energy. Again, here's the argument that people have been making, caller, before you called in. Some people are saying, well, look, the fight's going to sell online. They're going to be doing that on TikTok. But my thing with that is, caller, is there's nothing that compares to actual in the arena energy. When I've seen those press conferences from the UFC. They've got people in the stands. They get to ask questions. They're laughing. They're reacting to what the fighters say. They're reacting to the fighters trash talking. It's almost like it's like a theater production. You can feel the energy. If you do it online via tweets, okay, it's going to be entertaining to follow, but there's not that same energy that you can suck off. What do you think about that, caller?
I agree. They should let fans in. I said, why not? There's nothing wrong from learning from the UFC. I don't even watch UFC, but if that's what they do, then they should also put that in boxing. Yeah, I think having the fans there will be great, and I think that hopefully this fight, I don't know. I don't like how these guys are coming from Ryan's coming from a moral high ground. Like he's talking about how I'm doing this for boxing, how maybe these other guys will start stepping up and fight. I'm like, but when Tank wasn't available, people were trying to get you to fight other good guys, but you kept saying no. Devin Haney fight, that fight was there, but I think he said he wants to fight Devin Haney last or something like that. But there were tons of other good fights from there. And he's trying to make it out like, no one else is doing anything good. The titles don't. That's ridiculous. These guys are fighting good fighters, and they're fighting tough fights. And it's just because people, there's a lot of respect, because to Gervonta, he has a lot of outward appeal. And if you talk about boxing, even with some of the people I've worked in many different warehouse jobs, and just about almost everybody knows Spence and Gervonta. So that's where why he's so fixated on Gervonta. That's where the respect is. Boxing is about respect a lot. Like, are you respected by your peers and by the fans? So that's where he's going to. That's where Ryan. Because ever since he got on the scene, everybody's been saying he's fake. But from what I know, he's been boxing for a long time, but people have still obsessed with calling him an Instagram boxer or TikToker. But he's been doing this, probably longer than most people have been alive. Some of his fans have been alive.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Now, yeah. Listen, Ryan Garcia he shot himself in the foot with that a little bit of a goofball. But let me ask you something, caller. We can agree that the press conference was boring, and maybe tomorrow they'll step it up. I think I heard. Take it with a grain of salt, but I think there's gonna be a crack tomorrow. I have to double check on that. But whether tomorrow's press conference is the most boring affair ever, are you still gonna buy the fight?
Buy it?
Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not right now.
Well, there you go, man. That's one person's opinion. He is basing it off the. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to say I am excited for this fight that's coming up this Saturday for Tony Harrison versus Tim Tszyu. I'm really looking forward to that fight. And the Inoue Fulton thing, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm biased towards Inoue. I really like Inoue. He's probably the most fighter that gets me the most excited in this era, even more than Canelo. I think Canelo's starting to regress, if you ask me. And Inoue is just getting better and better. I think he's an even better body puncher than Canelo right now. If you were to ask me who's a better body puncher, I'll go with Inoue. Easy.
Well, there you
I'd
go.
agree.
So yeah, those two fights. Yeah, those two fights. I'm really looking forward to. I hope you guys. I want to talk about the Tony Harrison fight when you guys gonna do that show?
Well, we're going to. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna have the time. Like I said, depending on what happens with the second press conference, we might go live. But I was planning on talking about that fight today as well.
Okay. Shoot, man. Well, if you guys are,
do you see how skinny Harrison was when they were doing the face-off? Man, I always forget how thin he is, man. How skinny Harris is.
He said that
he's so tall.
He was on weight. Yeah, but he won't be skinny in the ring. He's just trying to get on weight, though. He said he was training even before they called him.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the fight, caller, because there's a lot. Look, Tim Tszyu, potential Australian star. That's always good for boxing when you've got a guy that can draw a crowd abroad and forces some of these American fighters to fight abroad. But again, there's still a lot of questions about Tim Tszyu unanswered, and I think Tony Harrison is the perfect guy. Say what you want about his chin, but the guy has smooth boxing skills. I dare say he might be the most skilled fighter at 154. It's just that the chin of his, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, he's like a Linares of the 154 right now. Very, very skilled boxer.
I was looking at. I'd say he's even better, even smoother than Linares. Better defense. I've seen some of the way he moves. I'm like, Linares don't move like that. Nah, he's even better than him.
Well, I tell you, man, Tim Tszyu got his hands full with him. Who are you picking for that fight?
I'm going with Tony, to be honest with you. I think Tony, I've been listening to some of these Australians, and they think Tim is like Superman or something. I'm like, yeah, he's a good fighter. I've been following him since 2019. I watched him ever since that Stevie Spark fight where he was supposed to fight Michael Zarafa, but he failed his country and just found a way out of the fight. And ever since then, I've been following him, and I liked him. But I think Tony's got this.
Well, wait. With that Zarafa fight, did Zarafa pull out of that fight, or was that Tim Tszyu that moved away from that one?
No, Zarafa pulled out of the fight, and then he came. He was at when Tim moved on to bigger things. He was at the Jeff Horn fight, and he was like, and Tim was like, "Man, you ruined it. You blew it. We were supposed to fight, but and that's from there. He just ignores Zarafa. Unless Zarafa gets a world title, they'll probably never fight."
Yeah, well, you got to keep in mind, though, I think Zarafa's a male stripper, so he probably had a gig on that date, and he could, you know how these promoters of talent are in the industry. They don't like it to move from our date. But, yeah, I mean, that would have been a big fight in Australia. Be that as it may, yeah, Tim Tszyu, this is a big... let me ask you, though, is he lucky that he's getting this fight instead of the Charlo fight right away?
I think he kind of is, because I think Charlo would really do some serious damage to him. It's because sometimes it's kind of like Lubin. You try to get there before you're ready. They're trying to push him there. The WBO believes that him beating all these guys in Australia, he's ready to step to Charlo. I think Charlo is just too vicious. It's just too vicious to put him in there with Charlo. I think it's a blessing in disguise that he got this fight instead. Because if he get knocked out, I think the knockout would be bad. I remember Lubin. Lubin was a super talented young man. Mike Tyson was behind him and everything. But he got caught just one mistake. And, against some other guy, he got just dropped. I don't know. Maybe this time it won't be like that. Maybe he get caught cold. So that's why I think that, this is a better fight for him.
Well, I tell you what, man, Tim Tszyu's got a lot to prove this Saturday, and that's why I'm excited, man, because I want to see what happens. Is he going to sink or is he going to swim? Caller, we have to move on to another call, but thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right, man?
All right, I will. Bye.
All right, fantastic. Take it easy. And don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to the phone call here. Let's go to 321. 321, you're on the air. 321, what's on your mind?
Is it me?
That's right, 321.
DDA. It's been a long time.
Indeed it has, I think.
It's been a very long time.
All right.
Quantum Rob is here.
No, wait a minute.
And I'm completely, yes. Quantum is here.
You blew it!
And I'm
all right, so Quantum,
healthy.
what's on your mind, man? I know you're not going to filibuster like you usually do. I know you're going to get right to the point.
Yeah, listen. I'm going to get to the point. My organs are fully recovered. This is the public servant's announcement en el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, Espíritu Santo type. My organs are recovered. I'm completely out of therapy, and I'm going to be streaming again soon. Now, to get to the point of everything, the brass tacks to your show that I've been listening to for quite a while I was recovering. Everybody says that it's a hoax. No, he's dead. No, I'm not fucking dead. I seen some shit. I know some shit, but I'm alive. I'm very alive now. You know, especially now. Finally, I got released like 2 weeks ago. I'm finally out because
discharged.
Everything that was going on. Anyway, so this fight, it was like back with Devin Haney and Lomachenko, right? Everybody has a narrative. All I'm seeing is a big narrative. Like, there's a back and forth this, there's a back and forth that, but only history shows that the math doesn't conceive within the squared circle. It usually don't. Like, I would say like 65 to 70% of the time. Yeah, it's quantum love. Yes. 70% of the time, like what we think, like the total shit goes diagonal. You know what I mean? It goes the total all the way. We can make all these assumptions. We can have all these conversations. But the thing is that when we look at it on paper, don't worry about what's on paper because that is deceiving what's on paper. You can buy a house and say that, oh, this house is this house is that, but the roof is leaking, it needs a new air conditioning, but it's not in the paperwork. You know what I'm just
Quantum,
putting an
you sound like
example
you sound like Teddy Atlas, man. You're sounding like Teddy Atlas, first of all. Number two, when you said that you got...
Yeah, listen. Hey, I'm here.
I know, but you said something. You said you got released from the hospital. They don't release you, they discharge you. Are you sure it was a hospital where you were at, or was it somewhere where they had bars on the doors and so on?
No, nothing like that. Whatever, right. You know, discharge release, but they let me get out because I was fully recovered. It took them that long. I was in the hospital for over 2 years, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
not
I'm glad
in the
to
fucking cuckoo's bin.
No,
but you know, I can understand that. I can understand that. It's a funny.
But it's good to hear. It's good to hear that you're. Yeah, it's good to hear that you're back because the last time we heard from you was in May, I believe. It was around the time of the Haney-Kambosos fight, the first one. Now, I got to tell you, though, there's some people that are angry with you in the boxing community. Not myself, though. I'm not angry at you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, you're going to make
amends
with those
listen, whoever's angry at me is angry at me. What happened to me, I cannot reverse. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sit here and reverse somebody going on there saying that I was dead, which I was. I was clinically dead. I was like,
there you go.
It was a high probability I should not even be having this conversation, but it's my body didn't give on this, and then the progression, and then I got on. Remember that last time I got on, and I'm like, but my shit was all fucking twisted inside. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? My organs were all fucked up and crushed and all that other shit, you know? But I fucking came on, and then that's when the nurse came in, and I told her to shut the fuck up because my head was not even there.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember that shit?
You were asking for orange juice. Well, listen, I remember all that, and I got to tell you, I'm just saying that there's people out there that were not too pleased with what happened.
Story.
So, I know it's a real story. But anyway, listen, Quantum, hopefully hopefully everything goes well with you out there.
It's like, people can hate me and be mad at me, but you know what? I don't care because it's like, nigga, like, yo, be happy that what's happened to me in the last 2 years didn't happen to you or somebody that you love. Like, if anything, instead of being mad at me, they should be happy that I'm still here. But that's fine.
That's the best way to say it.
Who cared? That was the best
way to say it, Quantum. That is the best way to say it. We're glad you're fine, that you untwisted your shit, you unfucked your shit. That's very good. That's what I want to hear. I believe that's what the doctor told you. So listen, we got to go on to other phone calls because there are people waiting. But we're very happy to hear back from you, and do call back next time, all right, man?
No, I will call back, and you know, it's good to be home. It's good to be home, and I'm going to be listening, and I can't wait to see what kind of other conversation is going to happen because I jumped on here. But Fantastic. Keep up the good work, and I got Ryan Garcia in this one.
All right, there you go. He's got his Quantum's giving his prediction. He's not wasting any time. All right, listen.
Ryan Garcia, but I feel like they'll rob it or make it a draw at the end if it makes it 12 rounds.
All right, well, listen, thank you for your call, Quantum. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Move on. Dale.
All right. He's back in the fold, fellas. Quantum Rob is back in the fold. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and give a like for Quantum Rob as well. He unfucked his shit. The doctors were able to unfuck his shit, so good for him. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Okay. Timothy says Quantum got cloned. No, there's no cloning going on here. 646. You're on the air. 646. A lot of background noise. Let's see if we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, BBA?
We're doing fantastic, man.
Can you
What's
hear
in your mind? Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, great. Listen. I'd like to say that the first thing that boxing fans should stop shitting like fasting. For the last 2 years, what I've been hearing is how this fight between Davis and Ryan Garcia was not going to get made. It's here. We got it. And now we're complaining about how they're promoting it or this and that. Enough of that noise. The thing is that I see about boxing fans that I don't think that a lot of them are solving for is that they don't understand Ryan Garcia's fans. Ryan Garcia's fans are not boxing fans. They're not hardcore boxing fans. They're not you or I. You understand? They're these school-aged children, a lot of them, and they're going to ask their parents to buy the pay-per-view. And if they feel that's the way to promote to them, then we should accept that. The point is that we're going to see the fight. And as far as all the criticism that Ryan Garcia gets for not fighting Devin Haney, well, the thing is that Devin Haney, at the time, people don't remember, is that Devin Haney had an email belt. The rightful owner of the belt, the guy who beat the guy at 135, was Teofimo Lopez. He still had the strap around his waist. So for the WBC to mandate Ryan Garcia, and he sees, why should I fight this guy? This guy needed Amanda Serrano and Heather Hardy to sell tickets in Madison Square Garden. I don't need this guy. You understand? Is it right? Is it right? Is it a perfect thing to do? No, but you got to understand that Devin Haney now is going to really consolidate his legacy as to who he is by fighting Lomachenko. But that's like, what, 2 years removed? So boxing fans need to stop killing boxing. It's boxing fans' fault. You dig? And a while back, you had a show talking about how can you make boxing better. I think that the sanctioning bodies have a lot to do with it. I guess a simple fix would be in their rankings, they never mandate if one of the bylaws in the sanctioning bodies, if they can all adapt, is that the mandatory cannot be from the same promotional company as the champion. That is a simple fix. You make a mandate, no matter who it is, it has to be from another promotional company, and that's how you get promotional fights starting to get made more regularly. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Well, that's an interesting point right there, man. Again, logistically, it would be interesting to see how they would work it. But you're right, though. Listen, people are complaining about the press conference, myself included, but I'm going to buy the fight. I've said that from the beginning. So I think that the boxing fans are going to pay for it, whether the press conference was interesting or not. But it's just, people, I'm discussing it from the point of view of, well, listen, you want to make this event as big as possible. If you want to get into that mainstream coverage, you got to do something to make people talk. Again, I'm not saying a fist fight. I'm not saying a scuffle. A little join back and forth, a little tension. That's all we ask for.
I totally agree, but I will tell you this. This is because I pay attention to your show and stuff like that, but basically the hardcore boxing fans' point of view, I take it as with a grain of salt because you're prone to complaining. What I try to look for is in who's talking about this fight. Am I seeing people around the water cooler, in the gym, or wherever that I normally don't hear talking about a particular event, talk about that event? And that's happened. The other day I was in my gym. It's not a boxing gym or anything like that. It's just a regular old gym. I'm hearing the cat was about 24 years old talking to about a 20-year-old guy. Oh, Garcia, we're going to have to fight. I never heard a boxing conversation in that freaking gym. Ever.
Well,
you understand? And they're talking about this. And that, to me, signals that it's crossed over from to a fan base or to people that are interested in that fight that won't be listening to BBA. They won't be on boxing Twitter. That won't be on YouTube. They don't give a shit. Don't know who Bob Sorry. Don't know who Bob Arum is from a hole in the wall. That's the other difference between the fan bases. The fan bases that I find most interesting. I think the real difference is, I think that they both have casual fan bases, except one of them thinks it's hardcore. The Tank Davis crowd, they think they are very knowledgeable, but they say the stupidest shit in the world. You understand what I'm saying? And then the Ryan Garcia fan base don't know anybody, but they know Ryan Garcia, and they know they want to see him kick somebody's ass. And that's right. You have to break things to the simplest common denominator. You dig? Anyway, that's enough for me, man. All right? Peace.
Well, no, you bring up a good point. Good point. I will completely agree with you with that. Boxing fans, hardcore boxing fans, we tend to be a negative bunch. And that's because we've been beaten down and flattened. But look, listen, 2023, I've said it from the beginning, it's gotten off to a great start. And look at all the good fights that we've got coming forward. Now, let's see if they happen.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, listen, caller, good call.
Good
call, man.
Peace.
And call back next time, man. Take it easy out there.
All right, later.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. You gotta. The press conference sucked, but we're still. I'm still gonna buy it, and I know a lot of other hardcore fans are still gonna buy it. Jimmy, before I take another phone call, anything you wanna say about what we've heard so far?
Oh no! I was just. Did he say who his name is? He sounded familiar. Does he call before?
You know what? I'm doing a bad job today with the names because I'm not asking for them. My
I don't know if that was somebody who's called before I've talked to. I was just curious. No, that's I got really nothing to add about that. Yeah, no, I mean he's right to a point that really doesn't matter about the press conference. Let's get the fight. I know people are saying they don't think it's going to happen until they step in a ring. I mean the fights. I mean when they're doing a press conference, that's to me that's pretty much a guarantee. They're out doing press conferences.
Yeah, and listen, when you're dealing with this type of demographic, it's something that we have not seen. It's new. It's the first time they're getting the under 25 crowd, or they're gonna try to get the under 25 crowd as a whole to watch this fight. I tried to the BD board directors, by the way, try to get me to do a census. I went on the streets. I went to schools to try to get ask them what they thought, and I actually got escorted out. Now, granted, I was only talking to the girls. I think that's what kind of freaked them out. But who else was I going to talk to? 15-year-old guys about Ryan Garcia? Come on, I had to go with the 15-year-old girls. Come on now. All right. Yeah, I was going to say, now here's another thing that doesn't bode well for this fight. Because like they said, that's the thing. They're really going to be targeting, Ryan Garcia has a lot of young fans. And if they're going for the young fans, nobody knows how to illegally stream shit like the young people. They're so much more, computer savvy than your average boxing fan. So if there's any high probability of theft, it's going to be with that crowd. That's true. Absolutely, man. You're absolutely right. It's this fight. It's for the fucking Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight. Actually, remind me to talk about that because I want to get to this caller. He's been waiting for a while. 432. You're on the air. 432. What's on your mind?
Hey, BDA Jimmy. How's it going?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well, man.
What's up, brother?
I'm just still trying to process that caller a couple calls back. That Quantum guy sounded like he got out of an insane asylum or something.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Seriously though, I was kind of disappointed with the press conference. These two seem to have very different energy in person as opposed to on social media. I mean, if they would have talked to each other like they do on social media, I feel like the buzz would be a lot bigger. So hopefully they do that with the next press conference. I don't know. I kind of got on late. I don't know what y'all's opinion was on it.
Well, first of all, let me say something. I thought you were Quantum. You kind of sound a little bit like Quantum Rob. I don't know if it was Quantum returning back with a different character. But
no.
Sorry, what was your question?
Like where y'all they just have completely different energy like on social media as to oppose in person, and then when the mic was taken away from them, then they wanted to talk. They need to sell the fight if they want it to be a success. I don't know if y'all share that opinion or not.
It was definitely a weird thing. I think they felt constrained by the pageantry of the press conference, because it was very low key, it was very respectful. Like Steve Kim said, if you watch one press conference, boxing press conference, you've seen hundreds of them. It's always the same thing. They bring in the promoter, and then they bring in the showtime. The network guy, and they always tell you it's gonna be the greatest fight of all time. It's the fight that fans have been clamoring for, and it's just boring, man. It is boring. So I think that energy bled into, or actually sucked out the energy out of Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. And then once it was over and they were facing off, it sort of lit a fire under their ass. Like, oh shit, like we're back. And that's what they're gonna have to do tomorrow. Because you're absolutely right, man. They changed. It seemed like they were being destroyed. You tell me what you think, man.
It'd be better if they had a crowd.
Is there gonna be a crowd tomorrow? That's what I heard. I think. I don't know what you've heard.
No, I hope so. I mean, just go by the UFC model. Like when the crowd's there, it's just a better energy, and it amps the fighters up to talk more. But another thing I wanted to bring up was the rehydration clause. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of hypocrites in the YouTube boxing community and of course boxing Twitter, that cesspool. A lot of Tank fans seem to not have a problem with it, but I immediately thought of, can you imagine if Lomachenko did that to Teofimo or this fight coming up with Haney? They would lose their shit if he were to do that to him. But they're not saying anything with Tank, and it's crazy to me how they're just never consistent with their criticisms.
Well, like Steve said, brother, if they didn't have any standard, it's either no stand. What is it? If they didn't have no standards, they'd have or double standards. They'd have no standards at all. It's so true.
Yeah, caller. I agree with that. Look, listen. I agree with both sides, though. Ryan Garcia deserves. He can't use it as an excuse. I know it will be a reason why it could hinder him, but then why accept the fucking clause? On the other hand, I can also blame the Tank Davis side, saying, "Well, why did you guys demand that in the first place?" I don't know. It takes a little something away from the fight, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, and another thing, like. As far as like changing the subject a little, do we have any news on that fight, Loma and Haney? I haven't heard anything. Have y'all?
Well, Steve Kim just reported it's very close. They're ironing out a few other things. Loma signed his paperwork over a month ago, so this is all stuff that to get Haney.
But that's the thing, though. Has Haney signed his contract then, or?
No, not yet.
What the fuck?
They're still ironing out a couple of details.
Aligning out a couple of details.
It's crazy. You're seeing it with Fury and Usyk and now Loma. Anytime these Ukrainians are involved, the opponent seems to have be very hesitant to sign his part. Like Fury right now wants nothing to do with Usyk. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, know what, caller?
Yeah, that's all I had.
All right. Well, listen, caller. Thank you for your call, man, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, thank you.
Take it easy out there. Yeah, Jimmy, I was telling people on this show whenever they would call in or whatever, or people would say, do you think the fight's happening? I'd say, yeah, I got a feeling it's going to happen. They're talking. I don't think Fury's got anywhere else he can go right now. It's the fight to make. And both Bob Arum and Frank Warren and the Usyk side, they seem to be talking. They seem to be open to it. I think it's going to happen. Now, though, they're saying, and Steve Kim also just called in and said that it's petering out. I mean, I don't want it to peter out, but apparently that's what's going on. So, and apparently it's Fury's fault because I don't know, but Usyk, I've never heard anything from his side in any of his fights about money, size of the ring, the type of gloves they're going to wear. It's always him fighting abroad. Then all of a sudden he gets against Fury, and all of a sudden he's the problem with the money. I don't know. It seems very suspect.
Yeah. Once it left, wasn't going to happen in the Middle East. It was going to happen into England. So that was instantly taking a ton of money out of Usyk's pocket by taking it out of the Middle East. Mm-hmm. So he's probably to the thing like, okay, you're pushing me enough. I'm not going to, there's only so many stipulations I'm going to take. But for Fury to act like with his one belt, it's basically he's in a position like I've sold more pay-per-views, or I'm a known commodity, because you can't go by off his accolades of what he's done, because how great what Usyk has done is a better win over Joshua is a better win over Wilder.
Mm-hmm. That's
my
point,
opinion.
man.
And plus, he's unified cruiser. You take all that into consideration. Plus, he's got 3 of the belts, where Fury only has 1. I think it's ridiculous that Fury's demanding to be like, taking all the lion's share of the money.
Yeah, Fury's in a bit of a hard place right now because the argument that I've heard from some people is that, well, Usyk doesn't bring anything to the table. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. He's a recognizable name. He's not a nobody. I know he's not Michael Jordan. You can't parade him in the streets of the United States and people are going to know who he is. But he's a recognizable name now. He's fought in various venues, well-packed venues all across Europe, including against Anthony Joshua. He has, what, 2-3 belts? I forget the amount of belts he has. I don't follow that. But he's got belts on with him. I think he's the Ring Magazine champion, even though Fury continues to claim that he's his lineage. But I mean, come on, to say that Usyk doesn't bring anything to the table, now I see a little desperation from Fury fans. And again, I had no dog in this table. I like Fury, even though he took on Chisora. I still cut him some slack for that. But at this point, it seems quite clear that it's like with the Crawford Spence thing. It's quite clear that it's one side that's preventing this fight from happening. And at this point, that's what's going on with Fury. Which is insane because, I mean, shit, it's a 50-50 fight, man. Maybe Usyk outbox him easy. Maybe he makes it look easy. But we won't know until they actually get in the ring. So it's a shame that fight's petering out. But, hey, it is what it is. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Phone lines are still open for 18 minutes. There's a lot to get to, though. I don't know if we're going to have time to get to all of this. But, hey, Jimmy, I wanted to mention something. Well, 2 things, actually. Going back to Tank Davis's style, attire, his ensemble, if you will, for this press conference. He had the fucking coat, the pimp coat. Why was he wearing women's earrings, though? Look at that. I don't know if you can see it with the screen I'm sharing here.
Oh, hold on, let me check it out.
See that? That's a woman's earring right there.
Oh, yeah. Was it that big loop? Is that a loop or is it a dangling earring?
It's a dangling thing. Yeah, it's not a loop. That would have been fucking even weirder. But still, it's what the heck's going on with this guy? I think maybe he's trying to freak Ryan Garcia out. I would hope that that's a tactic, because if that's really what he thinks is stylish, oof, he needs to.
That Easter egg colored fucking fur is pretty gaudy.
Easter colored egg. That's a good way of putting it, man. But okay, and here's the second thing I wanted to bring up. We were talking about the pay-per-views and the Zoomer audience. The Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, I heard a lot of people pirate. I was listening to a Joe Rogan clip, and he had a stand-up comic named Chris DeStefano. And the guy goes, oh yeah, I watched a fight. I illegally streamed it. I'm thinking, holy shit, people are just casually dropping that on the biggest podcast in the world. It seems that I do have to wonder, though, how many people actually stole it and how much that might have affected the bottom line.
Well, there's no repercussion not to admit it. You can't get in any kind of trouble, right? To say that you stole it or streamed it. What are they going to do? Send, local cops here? So, yeah, people are pretty open about it. But and it's still reported to have sold 755,000 or 775,000. So think about even if half was stolen, that wouldn't mean it would have done like 1.5. But then you can't do that either, because when you say that, you can't add what was stolen, because the reason why they stole it, they don't want to pay for it. So if they were forced to have to pay for it or not watch it, I would imagine out of the people who stole it, I would say 80% wouldn't have bought it. There's a reason they stole it. You see what I'm saying? So I hate when a lot of people do that too. They'll say, well, if you add in what was stolen, this thing would have done 300. No, you can't do that, because people who stealing it more than likely weren't going to buy it anyway.
That's true. You're absolutely correct. Bang on the money right there. It's true. Yeah. A lot of people that they're taking that shortcut, it's because they wouldn't have paid for it in the first place. You're right. Because I'm a firm believer that if you give people something at a fair price, they will pay for it and they will not pirate it. But like you said, if they weren't going to buy it at all, and then all of a sudden the chance to watch it for free comes along and it's just one click away, yeah, did that really take away from the bottom line? You're absolutely right. Here's something else I wanted to bring up before we move on from this. And by the way, we might go live tomorrow again if anything interesting happens, the second leg of the tour, Garcia Davis. I wanted to bring this up. There's somebody posted this on Twitter, a very good tweet, Broadway Joel. I think he's got a show, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, on the YouTube. he brought up a very good point here based on a Gary Anton Russell comment. Because I don't know if you guys are aware, but Gary Anton Russell is going to be fighting a fellow American in a PBC card on the undercard of Alberto Puello versus Rolly Romero. Now, they asked Russell about that fight, and he said, when being a student of the game, you must consider the fact that every step a contestant takes is more than just self-gratification, and each and every last one of us do it for keeps. In other words, Puello got to catch up to me. He is behind me. No need to look forward. No need to look back when the direction you're going is forward. And now Broadway Joel pointed out, so you turn down a title shot with Puello because he's behind you, but you chose to fight Ken Cruz on Puello's undercard? I'm confused. Jimmy, can you make sense of, what is that about? Like, he's saying he's above Puello, but then he's fighting on his undercard for no title? And again, keep in mind, I don't give a shit about titles, but fighters do. So what's up with that comment?
Yeah, it sounds like excuse making to me. Sounds like you don't want to fight him.
Because listen, this is the argument I've made about the PBC. For example, Saturday's fight, I'm looking forward to it. That's a good fight. And I'm going to watch the Showtime fights because I'm a boxing fan. But you cannot deny, when you look at that schedule, they could be making better fights. Again, they have a stable of around 150 fighters. They should be making big fights every other week. Now, all of a sudden, they come out with a schedule where you get some so-so fights, and people are like, oh, hey, there you go. You thought the PBC was dying. They got the best schedule. It just reminds me of when you lend somebody money, and then you have to harass them for it, and then they give you a little something back, and they make it seem as if they're doing you the favor. That's the thing with the PBC.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see, we're putting on these fights, we're doing you a favor.
Excellent.
Yeah, but you got 150 fighters on your stable, and this is the best you can do. Why not make Gary Anton Russell versus Puello? Why not make Gary Anton Russell against Barthélemy, the rematch of what was a controversial fight when they first fought?
Well, did you see what Steven Espinoza said in a recent interview? He said, I would shudder to think of boxing without Showtime's input, what they're giving you. And then you look at his schedule, you say, really? Okay, outside of the pay-per-views, those don't count. They're not on Showtime. They're being, that's the provider, but it has nothing to do with Showtime as far as their budget. Who's the biggest fighter? Seriously. It's either Figueroa, who just fought, or is it Julian Julian
J-Rock,
whatever his last name is, J-Rock. So I mean, was all the name fighters, was all the guys who the $1 million fighters who fought in the past. And I think what happened is the reason why that Thurman fence kind of fell apart is I think once Showtime's budget came out and they realized what they're working with, I think that was the driving force behind Wilder saying, "Yeah, see you later." And all Ruiz and Thurman. I don't know where Spencer's going to go if the money isn't what he wants. But
there's always the zone. But yeah, man. I mean, it's bizarre. Like you said, you asked the question, who's the biggest name they've got on that schedule? Seems like it's Rolly Romero, just based on those.
Imagine that.
Yeah, just based on those 300,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. Again, I'm going to watch the fights. Oh, no, actually, excuse me. No, I don't think I can watch the fights because, and I was trying to mention this on the last episode. I have an application
Showtime.
here. Was that?
It doesn't show in Canada, does it? Showtime doesn't show in Canada, does it?
Well, that's what I was. Yeah, listen. There's the way I used to watch the Showtime fights here in Canada was there's a channel called TSN. It's like the Canadian ESPN, and they've got an application. And for the past, I want to say a year and a half, 2 years, I had the ability to watch both the ESPN cards and the Showtime cards there. They were offering them. So I would pay for the application. Since the year started, I don't think they've shown any Showtime card. I couldn't watch the Figueroa fight on there. I had to make do with other sources. Couldn't watch the O'Shaquie Foster fight either. I couldn't watch what was the other Showtime card that they had? They had another one. Be that as it may, I couldn't watch that. Then I'm looking at the schedule here. They've got nothing but ESPN cards. There's no Showtime. And I'm thinking, okay, are they going to re-up once everything is solidified and maybe they don't want to put that on the schedule yet? Or are they not going to invest money into Showtime because they know that this is their last hurrah? I don't know. All I know is
it doesn't bode well for Showtime that they're not doing that. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't bode well for Showtime that they're not even showing their fights in Canada. It's like, what a limited, group to put it, to offer it up. But yeah, I know Steven Espinoza, he called it a conspiracy theory, and I, reacting to people saying online that, he noticed he didn't say, but he waited till after his job was secured to where he's still a president of sports going forward under Chris Murphy. But he didn't say all that when people post an article after article talking about the reshuffling of Showtime, and they still haven't decided where it's going to end up. I know it's going to end up on the app, but it's going to be folded in. But he waited until after his job was secure, then he comes out, it's all a conspiracy theory. Then where the fuck was that talk? Why wouldn't you say that? Cut it off right at the the beginning, right when all that talk started. How come you didn't say nothing then? Because you didn't know yourself. And I think their budget sucks, and I think this rollout, I'm going to be honest with you, I think it sucks. I think it's trash. You look, post that 2023 spring schedule against years past. You look at Showtime's years past. They had twice as many fights. They had all the big names, a lot of big names anyways, within the PBC. But you look down that list, there's nobody. There's nobody. Regardless of some of the fights might be decent, but look at the level of fighter who's fighting. Name recognition and all that.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to point out. It's trash when you compare it to the amount of fighters that they have. And then you look at, again, why are they putting J-Rock against Adames? Like, that makes no sense, man. Is that the best guy they could fight?
Or Heard recently.
Or Heard, well, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, Heard, yeah, that was
they're the best guys they could get for under $1 million. They're the best guys they could get for fight on the cheap. That's what it comes down to.
Excellent. Well put, Jimmy. And that's the other thing. We had a caller in the last episode who was arguing that the Showtime schedule is the best out of everyone. I brought up the fact that Canelo and Joshua are fighting free on the zone. And he said, yeah, but those aren't super fights. Yeah, but keep in mind what I'm saying here. We're talking about whether the boxing is going to continue on Showtime. The zone's got their best stars on. You can't say the same thing about Showtime. Where's Errol Spence? Where's Deontay Wilder? And let's keep in mind something.
Yes.
We're talking about their biggest stars. Errol Spence, Deontay Wilder, but really compared to Canelo and Joshua, they're not stars.
No, and UA Fulton obliterates anything Showtime's putting on, and that's going to be free on ESPN Plus. Well, if you have the app,
yeah, and I believe Haney Lomachenko is going to be free too. I think. Hopefully, they'll.
Oh yeah, that's going to be free.
Because a couple of weeks ago,
we were too, bro.
Yeah, but because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about a rumor that it was going to be pay-per-view. Remember that?
Yep.
So hopefully that was just a rumor, and they actually keep it free. And it's not really free because fuck, I'm paying for that fight over here in Canada on the TSN. So everyone's paying for it. You're paying for cable. You're paying for the fight. But yeah, man, listen.
One way or another, they get you.
That's right, man. That's right. These fucking guys, they want their money.
Yeah, one hand in your pocket, the other one fucking jerking you off.
Well, at least if they were fucking giving us a little something.
Little reach around, you might not hate it as bad, right? But no, not even that.
But listen, this is getting a little bit too out of control here. So we might return tomorrow for the second part of the press conference if anything happens. Again, we might come back because there's a lot to talk about here. Some of the things I wanted to talk about was, okay, actually we can't leave. Tszyu versus Harrison. Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison. Like I mentioned to the other caller who brought that up, that is an interesting fight, man, because Tim Tszyu is a blockhouse. This guy is built like a tank. He looks a little bit like, well, first of all, he looks a lot like his father, a virtual fucking twin. But he also looks a little bit like Golovkin because they've got those like Central Asian genes. And he kind of fights like Golovkin too, the way he cuts the ring off, even down to the color of his trunks. When he fought Terrell Gosha, he had that white with blue trim. He looked a little bit like Golovkin. Now, of course, he doesn't punch anywhere near as hard as Golovkin. He doesn't have that Golovkin jab. But I like what I see from Tim Tszyu. I like the fight that he goes in there to make a fight out of it, to beat the fight out of his opponents. He hasn't fought anybody like Tony Harrison. But his opposition so far has been Jaime Munguia-ish. And that's not necessarily bad. Because again, he fought Inoue, who was a tough, muscular guy, strong. He fought a mover in Hogan. He recently beat Garcia. He beat Jeff Horn, who's has experience at the top level. So he's been finding some good opposition. But this is the test. Harrison has been in there with the best. He's beaten the best when he beat Charlo. So Jimmy, what do you think we can expect from this fight?
I think Harrison would have to beat him soundly to get the decision in Australia. Just put it that way. I think he's going to have to beat him soundly. It's going to have to be a pretty one-way because I don't believe he'll stop him. I know Harrison isn't a feather-fisted guy, but just power's not his game. And to go into Australia and take that belt, I'm not saying it's fair, it's right, or I agree with it, but we all know how it goes down. They're not going to let that kid walk out of Australia with his belt unless it's pretty decisive. So do you think he has the ability to beat him decisively? I don't know. I know that Zoo seems to have enough power to be able to take out Harrison, although other big punches haven't. So we'll see. I don't know that much about Zoo. I know his name. I've been hearing about the kid for years. I've only seen him fight once, but limited opposition. So...
Well, I'll say this about Tim Tszyu then, man, because one thing that people are saying about him, Jimmy, is, well, he's a Julio Chavez Jr. He's just living off his father's name. I got to tell you, right off the bat, the best I ever saw Chavez Jr. look was that he had about 3 fights, I think, pre-Sergio Martinez. He looked in shape when he rematched Vera. I forget the guy's name, Brian Vera, I think it was. He shouldn't have struggled with him the first time, but in the second fight, he showed up in shape and everything. But he was a guy that was relying a lot on his size. He was a lazy bastard that relied on his size, didn't train properly, and even in the ring, he would take there were lulls in his fights where he was just catching his breath. He didn't want to go all out. I don't see that in Tim Tszyu. I see a guy that seems to be taking this seriously. He's improving. He rolls with the right hands well, but doesn't rely on that fucking Philly shell defense. He actually puts his guard up. He controls the distance very well. I think at this point, I dare say, technically, I see him being better than what Chavez Jr. was at the apex of his career. So I'm very excited for this fight. Tony Harrison, you mentioned that he looks skinny. That's always the way he looks. The guy is a lanky fella. He's very skilled. He can fight inside, outside. Good mover. I didn't like how he looked in the Garcia fight where he was constantly on the periphery of the ring. And I'm thinking, if that guy could put you there, what's Tim Tszyu going to do? Conversely, I didn't like how Tim Tszyu was eating some jabs from Garcia. His guard is very open, and Harrison has a very good jab. And there was a caller named Philly. No, what was his called? Dre from Philly, I believe. And I remember he called before the Charlo rematch, and he said, "Look, Tony Harrison is better than Charlo. He just doesn't have as good a chin," and he was right. Harrison is one of the most skilled guys at 154. He just doesn't have that chin. And when he's fighting a guy that's heavy-handed like Tim Tszyu, could be trouble. I'm very excited for this fight. I want to see what happens. I'm curious to see if Tim Tszyu lives up to the Tszyu name. So my prediction, I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know what to make. I could see Tony Harrison outboxing him and then eventually getting caught. One thing's for sure, Jimmy. Tim Tszyu's going to make him work. He's going to walk him down. That's what he's going to try to do. No ifs and buts about it. But he's got to catch him, though.
Yeah.
So, so that was just my take on that. Again, I don't know who to pick.
I would say he's got to win. But this is a very important fight for Tim Tszyu, because if he doesn't beat Tony Harrison, he's not ever going to be taken serious here in the United States. It's going to be hard for him to bounce back from that, because for the most part, outside his win, even though he's a very talented boxer, but because he doesn't punch as hard as a lot of guys, Harrison's lost most of the big fights he's been in. He's been on the losing end, right? Hasn't he lost a couple of the big fights, right?
He lost to Hurd, yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just not going to be a good look for this kid at his stage in his career if he loses to him.
I agree, man. I agree. Chief wants to jump on. We're almost... Okay, well, I don't know if he's going to make a prediction or something. Hold on a second. Oh, shit. Hold on. Took me out of the... fuck. Yeah, I don't want to know. Well, listen, Chief, whatever happens, though, we got to go, though. Hold on a second. to end the show. We might be on tomorrow, though. Like I said, no promises, but we might be on tomorrow depending on what happens. Whatever does happen, though, we have to go, though. And maybe, hey, listen, maybe we do have to come back tomorrow, return, because I got to make a prediction, official prediction. I can't just leave it 50-50 here and say, oh, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Be that as it may, shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that called in. Yes, indeed, the phone lines are now officially closed. So shout out to everybody that called in. Big shout out to Steve Kim. If he's still listening, shout out to Steve. Look forward to reading more of that Canine's Corner. And like I said, I'm waiting for that 3 knockdown rule as well. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens with the Saturday's fight. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. We're going to try to cover that as well. The Garcia Davis press conference. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat and everybody in the chat. I'm talking about the Parokua, 1 foot out the door, Vince Vegas, JJ, Quantum Rom. Good to hear he's back and he's healthy. Hopefully he doesn't get into trouble with people on the internet, because I know some people are after him. 8 Count, Reverend Pickles, Rapax Drunken Company. Shout out to him. If I forget, Knockout Ned. If I forget anybody, it's because we gotta go. Take it easy, fellas. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.
Every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.